Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this week's episode, we are checking out the Focke-Wulf 190 A-5. It is sitting in rank 4 of the German tech tree at a battle rating of 4.3. Overall, it brings a lot of great things to the German lineup and a pretty fun playstyle. So let's start off with the specs of it. We've got 4 20mm cannons mounted in the wings, 2 7.92 machine guns mounted in the cowl, a top speed of 660 kph, a 21.5 second turn time with a 14.1 meters a second climb rate. For my belts and convergence, as with most of the props that I do fly, I'm using 400 meter convergence with vertical targeting. For my cannons, I'm using air target belts, and then for the MGs, I'm using stealth belts. As far as the strengths and weaknesses, we have, on the weaknesses side, high-speed maneuvers. Anything over 660 kph, your control surfaces do start to lock up a little bit. It's not really detrimental, but really not as bad as like the I-225. That thing locks up really bad. You're still going to be able to pull out of dives, however, due to the wing shape, it's not anything close to the P-47, so as you do get higher in speed, you do lose a little bit of your turning performance. Not that the 190 was very great in that aspect anyways, it's not exactly its strong suit. However, it is important that you keep that in mind when you are doing your boom and zoom, especially when I'm about to talk about our strategy here. Also, you don't want to be turn fighting, so yaks, zeros, really fast P-47s, you're going to want to stay away from them. And let's see, pretty much anything else that, is smaller, faster, you're going to want to strictly boom and zoom them to take them out. As far as the strengths, the armament is obviously fantastic. Having 4 20 mils, especially wing mounted, is pretty not bad. It's pretty versatile as well. The acceleration in level flight is very impressive. You'll be able to outrun most Spitfires. However, for some reason, P-63s are faster. Not sure why. I was under the impression they had a fixed pitch prop, but I may be wrong. But that is something to look out for as well, P-63s. The armor is pretty good. The 190 is quite the beefy plane, and you do feel that while flying it. It is quite heavy. And of course, the straight line speed in level flight, like I already said, is quite impressive. With the strategy, as with most of the planes that I have been flying recently, you are going to want to side climb. However, you want to climb at the the inner base. Don't go towards the outer base, because at that point you're turning the 190 into more of a late game plane when it's more of a mid game plane. So side climbing towards one of those inner bases, I would prefer a climb speed between 260 and 270 kph. You can bump that up a little bit with the larger sim maps. However, I do still prefer the 260 to 270 range. So you are going to climb to up in between 3,500 and 4,000 meters, and at that point you're going to want to level out. You are going to see a decent amount of your enemy team leveling out there as well. However, once you are able to gain up some speed, you can go for a head-on and then maintain that speed to get away from whatever plane it was that you just committed to the head-on with. From that point, I prefer to fly the 190 into furballs, especially when I have accompanying 109s or other supporting planes from either Italy, Russia, what have you. The War Thunder meta is kind of weird with that, so we're not exactly flying these planes against what they were meant to be flown against. However, once you designate the furball, you're going to want to select one target that you are going to perform a strafing run on. So obviously, most of you are familiar with boom and zoom. That's just what you're going to do. Zoom in, do a strafing run, pull out, get some altitude and distance. loop back over. I prefer to do a vertical loop back onto the furball and then select either the same target or a different target depending on how the planes line up. You're really going to want to try to be smooth with the 190, make big turns so that you lose less speed. And really, you can just rinse and repeat that until either you win or lose. So that's really the strategy with the 109. It's been alright to fly, and I have kind of come full circle with this as well. I just haven't made as many videos of it, but I did have a pretty hard time learning how to fly the 190, especially compared to the 109. You have to remember it is not as small and as light as as nimble as the 109 is. So as long as you can keep that in mind, be a little more patient with the targets that you're selecting, and of course, like I said, make those big turns and large maneuvers, I guess is the best term, you're really going to have a pretty easy time flying the 190. I've been averaging about 1 to 2 kills. That's honestly, though, kind of my average across the board, whether I'm flying jets or props. However, I've still had some pretty good successes with it and a pretty decent time flying it. It hasn't been super frustrating or anything like that, like some of the other planes are that we have in the game. So overall, I'd highly recommend using it for your grind, and especially the new players. It is definitely going to be a plane that you are going to want to master because of all of its uses. I do believe that you can also add some armament under the wings if you guys feel like bringing it into ground RB, and in that case, you know, once again, the 20 mils are going to excel with light armored tanks and things like that. So with that being said, guys, we are going to wrap up the video, and I would like to say to my fellow Americans, just please pay attention to the things that are going on, and remember that we are all humans here. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Cheers!